for nearly a decade.
Most of the public will probably not know about us.
They've worked in the background.
This is something we can do, that we can go and help people.
Aiding Tennesseans in need.
Whatever it takes, you know, that's our role.
Facing down fear.
You didn't have time, you just out there just doing what you had to do.
Charging toward danger.
And I will say they were fearless.
As others fled.
You can see the fear in their eyes. It was awesome.
And growing into a force.
People need to be aware that the state has got a force.
A force for good.
When the call came, they answered the bell.
This is the story of TDOT. Strike Force.
We didn't really have a plan.
The idea of a TDOT strike force was born several hundred miles south of Tennessee, in the swirling winds of 2005's Hurricane Katrina.
There was a call out from their governor, Governor of Louisiana, for assistance. Of course, they had contacted Tennessee, and TDOT was proud to be able to send people. Of course, we're the volunteer state. We had people who volunteered, were ready to go and assist.
Region 1's Ben Price still has his original list of equipment and volunteers.
We had a lot of equipment. We had a lot of resources.
But the problem became evident that we were not prepared to go to assist.
And you wanted to go?
Yes.
And you couldn't go?
No.
And your thoughts on that?
A little disappointing.
But the truth is, in a very short time, if you can't sustain yourself, now you're a person that is in need.
We didn't have anywhere to stay, didn't have anything to take food or water or fuel. Just all we had was the dump trucks and equipment, and we'd show up and then they'd have to support us. So they decided we wasn't ready to go. It was a little disappointing because Tennessee's volunteer state, we were going to volunteer to go down and help them.
It was a wake-up call to TDOT leadership.
We didn't like the fact that we weren't prepared, and because of that, our commission at that time determined that was not going to happen to us again.
You don't want to be the slowest player on the team.
Work began to build a unit capable of handling the task.
We started developing a list, okay? We looked at stuff like tents. Do we want a guy who's going to work, from sun up to sundown, sleeping in a tent, or do we want to provide him something where he can really get some rest at night? So we started going through that process. We knew we had to have sleeping quarters. We need to have power, so we had to buy generators. We ended up buying trailers that would accommodate a crew of 8 and in bunks, and then we could throw up a couple of extra cots if we needed to, so we could sleep as many as a dozen people in a trailer. And we had the generators to power those. Then we had to think about, okay, now we've got to be able to feed these guys while they're out. Ultimately, we started off with just buying some cooking equipment. We could cook on open fires if we needed to. We had stoves in these trailers. Ultimately, that evolved into a full kitchen trailer. So we were able to take a trailer with us that had everything we needed in it to feed our crew. So we're getting all these components in place to make ourselves self-reliant so we could go and respond.
The first test of this new unit would take place at West Tennessee's Reelfoot Lake.
The scenario was an earthquake. Of course, it's close to the New Madrid Fault, and the reality is we didn't know if we'd be ready for a big event like that or not.
It was pure tabletop exercise at that point.
The difficulties of transporting a small army of personnel and equipment reared its ugly head early.
A lot of the trucks we had in 2011 wouldn't even make it to Reelfoot. So we had to go through the region and cherry pick all of our good equipment to be able to have trucks that would make it.
We bought these nice trailers that they'll, like I told you a while ago, they'll sleep a dozen people. But we discovered in that first deployment that their frame was not structurally built for us to move them back and forth a lot.
On the way down to Reelfoot, our trailer ton breaks or flexes to the point it touches the ground, and we're basically stranded on the side of the interstate.
It wasn't a pleasant trip up there. We were actually the last people to get there, right around 11 o'clock at night, because our trailer broke down. We ate ham and tomato sandwiches on the side of the road for about 5 hours.
It really brought it home that, you know, you've really got to be able to take care of yourself, because if it had been a real disaster, we would have missed at least one day of the 5.
Even in those difficulties, our guys pulled together. You know, the other regions came to their aid. Even guys who weren't technically part of the strike force team responded. They stepped up and did what they needed to do.
Strike Force would spend the next 2 exercises concentrating on getting to the scene. Always learning, always improving.
It was a learning experience. You know what you needed the next time that you went if you didn't bring it that time. We needed a lot of mosquito repellent.